y'all. Welcome back to the How to Be Magical podcast. It's Nikki here, and this week we have a very special guest from the West Coast. This week's episode is the Abundance Mindset Lessons from Luminary Wings, and we have Mel of Luminary Wings. Thank you so much, Mel, for coming and being on the show with us today. I'm very excited to talk to you. And I follow Mel on Twitter, and I have been a fan of hers for a while now. She has a nice following on Twitter, and she has built a lovely community over there. So I think that our listeners and our watchers and everyone who's engaging right now, they're going to be in for a good surprise. She's very sweet. I'm very excited to talk to you, Mel. Thank you so much for coming on. How you doing?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for giving me some space to speak, freely and just be myself. So I'm really excited just to even meet you in person. Because it's one thing to, talking on Twitter or in the DMs, but it's another thing to really get to see your face and really feel your energy. So thank you. I can already tell we're going to have a great time. Beautiful experience.
We're gonna have a time.
Amazing time.
It's interesting too, because it's like you see people online, and like you can get a vibe from them from like just reading some of their things or even seeing their videos. But it's different when you're talking to the person and engaging with them. So thank you so much for coming on. But just really quickly, just let us know where you're from and how did you get started in your spiritual journey.
I am born and raised, baby, Southern California, actually South Central LA. Well, they changed it. It's South LA now. They bougied it up a little bit. But I was born and raised in South Central. And I left when I was about 25, tried to go to college in Atlanta, but then I moved back because, gotta go home, gotta go back home sometimes. And my spiritual journey has been quite interesting, to say the least, because it is one that was a destined path that I fought, basically. And so I've always had a connection. I've always felt certain things, but I also was not raised in an environment that was open to what I go through. And so I didn't have a lot of guidance. And so to me, I was just, push through whatever I would feel and see and dream. And I just kind of disregarded as much as I could, because when I would talk, it would be met with like opposition, a little bit of like, what you say, stuff like that. And so it wasn't until I got maybe 25, 26. And that's when it really all opened up. And I was blessed with friends that had already, they're older. I was blessed with friends that already did their initial, steps into who they are. And they saw it within me, and they knew I needed the help. And they were so loving and so supportive. And they helped pull me into where I am now through training me in Reiki, helping to heal me first. They healed me first. Well, I ain't healed. I ain't no such thing. But they helped heal me a little bit and open me up to different options of healing aside from what I was originally raised within, which is, Christian community, Catholic community. And as I've grown into my spiritual journey, I've been able to tie it all together. And so that's how I am where I am now, is a lot of love, a lot of support, and a lot of talking to God myself. And so I never lost the connection to God or to faith. I just started using different tools and learning different patterns that were within myself that I could shift and adjust that would help me be where I am now, which is a lot more free of some of the hardships that I went through out my life. So my spiritual journey has been a little bit of up and down, and we'll get to it. We'll get to some of those things,
Right. It's interesting that you brought up Catholicism, because I noticed that you do reference a lot of saints and angels in your work, archangels and saints. I'm just like, I'm always so fascinated because everybody has their own relationship with the saints and with the angels. And I think that when sometimes people are like, decolonizing or like detaching from the church, they sometimes throw away everything. And like, I personally, I have not been to church, but I will get down with an angel and a saint in a minute. Like I gotta, I have my Saint Mary and my Saint Jude, and all of my, I still have
I
my
feel
thing.
you.
Like I'm
Yeah.
not giving that up. My relationship with the church might be different, one thing, but that don't have nothing to do with my relationship with the saints and with the angels. So, is that, I know the name of your business is Luminary Wings, which what was the inspiration behind the name?
So funny story. I most people know this, most people don't, but I'll let other people know. I am not an astro girly. I got a little bit of zodiac stuff on me, and I've been learning astrological things. But funny enough, I actually chose the business name and everything before I ever even knew I was a Cancer rising and a Pisces moon. Funny enough, I didn't even know you have big three, any of that. So, and that goes into where I'm saying like it was just a destined path that I fought a lot of times because I didn't know stuff, right? But the inspiration came from the fact that I was already attuned to Reiki 1, and I wanted something that talked about being a light, but I didn't want to use the boring name of the light because I felt like everybody used the light, and I sat there, I'm like, what other names go with light? So I just kind of went through, and I was like, okay, I like Luminary. And I went through a couple of different options, but I've always loved butterflies. But what I knew is that I personally was transformed through love. Now it did start with a situation that was painful. I went through a DV situation where somebody tried to take my life. Trigger warning, sorry. And I hid the situation. Um, but I literally lived in fear of my life because even with the restraining order, I was still getting letters, I was still getting messages, and so I was just in a lot of fear. And my friends, they really did. I've never experienced anything like it, but they really did circle around me with love. And because I transformed through love and I got to experience that, I wanted to gift that to the world or to whomever I could, whether it be one person, and then it changed their world. That was my goal with the name, that they know we're not about to transform each other or be here of a support for each other, and we're gonna do it with with judgment and negativity and anything that just make you feel less than. I didn't want that for nobody. I got to experience where I was free of all that in my healing. And I wanted to embody what was gifted to me and then gift it back. So the wings part has to do with the butterflies and the transformation of that, because I felt like a whole different person on the other side of getting Reiki 1. It was it was a reality I never thought was possible. And so the luminary part is the Reiki part, the wings part is the transformation part, and the love part is how I was transformed, and what I want to lead with is love. So the luminary wings of love is how that all came together. So that's my goal with my business that I have. A lot of times people, they give you a helping hand, but they give it to you with restriction, judgment, and shared pain. I don't want to do that. I want you to know that regardless of whatever you have experienced and where you're gonna go, there's love for you in this world. If I gotta channel it through whatever I gotta do to make sure you know that love can also transform you, that's the whole purpose of it all.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you say, like, because I was talking with someone earlier and we were talking about how there's so many women who have experienced like traumatic and painful things, and like that
Yeah.
transformation that happens, like when you talk about like people's villain origin story, like when you really get down to it, you be like, girl, I'd have burnt that shit down too. Like if like like
Yeah.
that was crazy. Like that was such a horrible, and there is a process that you go through as a a person who's been, you know, subjected to those things. You go through a whole thing of like, well, what did I do to cause this person to do this? And if I didn't do this, then this person wouldn't have did that. And it's like, at the end of it all, like, you know, like you said, when you really come down to the love portion of things, it's like, whoever created us in love. They did not create us to be, you know, treated so terribly and so horribly.
Yeah.
If someone is horrible and treating you in this way, it's not a reflection on you, it's a reflection on them, you
Yeah.
know. And but that's a
Absolutely.
hard place to get to. Like, sometimes you can get lost in that valley of like, oh my gosh, this horrible thing happened to me, and that's valid, you know. So it's
Yeah.
beautiful to hear that you have friends in like a community that came together to help you. And
Hmm.
now that, you know, now that you have healed certain things, now you're feeling like you can pay it forward and help other people heal,
Hmm.
which is that's just so kind, you know. And that's why I said, as that's something that drew me to you was your kindness. And I feel like kindness is something that is like lacking right now. Like, people are just like, we talked about it before we got on air, people are just talking crazy to each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for that. And I do feel like it does take a certain bandwidth and a certain level of emotional intelligence and even maturity to be like, I'm going to be kind in this moment. And I think when you know, I know that you do, like, you facilitate a lot of group rituals, you facilitate a lot of group things. Is that something? I mean, now as you saying this, I'm starting to see a connection. There was a group of people that helped you, so now you're helping to facilitate groups of people.
Hmm.
What is like, you know, everyone has their individual practice, right? We all got our
Yeah.
own things that we do individually. But as someone who facilitates group work, on that level, what is something that you think that a lot of people, you know, some misconceptions that people might have about participating in a group ritual?
When it comes to the misconception, I kind of get the main one that I get like questioned about. I get it because I used to think the same way until I was taught the proper way. But when it comes to group healing, a lot of times people feel like whatever the next person going through, then I'm gonna end up going through it too because it's a shared energy, and you know, but that's not true. But what we have to do is believe that everything is orchestrated in a certain way. And if there is a group of people that are coming together to heal, what's going to happen is the commonality of what needs to be addressed, the one thing that needs to be addressed will be addressed. It's not that you already have a problem and then the next person have a problem and now y'all sharing each other problem. No, there's something that is bringing this whole group together that's going to be fixed or healed or addressed at the moment. It might show up differently in each other's life, but it's at the core, it's all the same thing that's going to be lifted or addressed within in the group, but individually. So a lot of times people feel they lose their individualism when it comes to group healing. But actually the individualism is what helps you heal within that group because y'all might not be going through something that is exactly in detail, but in feeling and emotion and what's needed, that could be shared. And also, I might not be the one that needs to bring that to you. Sometimes when you come into a group setting, it helps because I'm only there to make space for the group. But person A and person E might see something in person C and they need to have that exchange of communication and information. But there is this misconception that like, okay, well when we all come together, then we got to share each other's pains, and that's not necessarily true. Now it does happen when people are improperly doing group work, but again, I was against it at first, and then I sat down with God like, why do y'all keep pushing me to do group healing? What is this? Um, and so I did a little bit of communicating with the other side, and they were like, "Look, we get why you think that, but we'll show you how to correctly do this, and that." And I've seen the results of what they showed me and how to do it, and I'm very thankful, and I have a lot of gratitude for the guidance that I received from the light and from God and from the universe and from my angels and my team because again, there's a lot of things I just kind of fight against. And so it's like I would rather not put my hands into something like that and do it wrong. So I usually leave stuff alone. But it's within my destined path, and I have to just kind of open up to the information. But yeah, I can see where people might feel like that, because there is a touch of truth to it, but you just got to go with people who know how to facilitate and actually do a group healing correctly, you know.
And so do you do in person group things, or is this all
I've done
online?
them in person, but most of them are through through online. And so the way that I do it, depending on what it is that I'm offering. So if I'm offering like a class where we do things on a weekly basis, I make sure that we have a group chat. And I tell people all the time, you might think that a group chat might get so annoying, but I promise you it's the best part of it. And every time, it is the best part of the group healing. It is the best part. Like I even witnessed other people make friendships through the courses. And they'll start to answer each other. They stop saying, "Hey, Mel," and they be like, "Hey, blah blah. Hey, can you know this and that?" And I'm like, "That's what I love to see, because we're a community. We got to do it together. We cannot do it just by ourselves. Yeah, it's an individual journey, but we cannot do it by ourselves."
Well,
And
it's interesting you say that though, because like as you was talking about the group, I don't know, I'm very visual, so I'm here. I'm like as you're talking, and you like we're talking about the light, and we're talking about how everybody has their light, and it's like this. There is something to be said about people just being on one accord with each other. Like you said,
mhm,
that even if you're not going through the same exact thing, the feeling
mhm,
is there, the sentiment is there. We're gathered at the same time to do the same thing. That's a very powerful. That's a very powerful assembly of people, of
mhm,
intentions,
yeah,
and we kind of charge each other up, like one person. Yes, one person, one individual can be very powerful at their altar with their candle doing their work.
mhm.
Absolutely. I'm never going to discount that. But there is something to be said about 2 and 3 and 4 and 10 and 15 people coming together at the appointed time to pray over this very specific thing. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
That
And
is
think
so
about
beautiful.
all the information in the room. I sometimes get up to 35 people that take a class at a time. That's a lot of experiences, a lot of advice that can be shared, a lot of support that can be given. And so those tend to be my favorite. Now I do also enjoy the other way that I do it is where it's just on a singular day, where I will have everybody sign up for one thing. Usually I do that for the sacral healing. Um, I enjoy that as well, but it's just something about seeing people make friends and heal together and experience, cry together. They be, and thank each other, and just have that, other other people to lean on as well, and feel understood. The reason that I like the other one is because I have seen the benefits of just everybody who needs to have some work done on the sacral, or everybody that's heart is like kind of hurting right now, and being able to send that healing through their team, and then their team sending it to them, and just getting multiple responses of like, oh my god, I feel so much better, this and this. It's a little bit easier on me, and it's a little bit easier on them, because I don't have to find 30 different slots available for people, uh, but everybody gets their healing. So I do enjoy that as well, but it's for a different reason. It's because they still get the benefit, and it's a little bit easier time wise on us. It's money too, but it's nothing like seeing people. I wake up and it's already 40 something messages in the telegram, and they done already talked through and supported each other and told each other have a good day, and by the end of the third, sometimes they're 30 days, sometimes I've been done 8-week courses, and by the end of the 8 weeks we be saying I love yous in the chats. I love it. So it's very beneficial in so many ways. And I hope that more people who kind of have like a opposition to group healing maybe open up to a trusted person, or maybe people who have praised a certain person. It don't got to be me, but somebody, um, because building a community is key to healing. It's the key, other than your willingness. But that community, it'll get you through the moments where you feel like you can't do nothing else.
No,
It can
that's
get dark when you're alone.
it's and like there are some things that we have to go through alone. We're human, everybody has their own journey, but it
Yeah.
is nice to be able to know that help is there,
Yeah.
know that the support is there, know that the listening ear is there, that someone. And sometimes, I think a lot about um how some people might feel, well, the people in their personal life is too close. Those people is too close to them. They know too much about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much there. It's a little easier to talk to someone somewhere else who doesn't really know me or like that. We just talking on this level, but
Yeah.
friendship and the relationship and the intimacy can still be built there, and we're still healing.
Yeah.
And
And that's that little key I was talking about. When it come all together, you might not be experiencing exactly the same thing as the other person, but you know for a fact that if you felt the need to sign up for a money course, and then there's other people in there that signed up for a money course, and you come in and you speak about the struggles that you having with money, ain't none of those other people gonna be coming in and being hard on you or judging you or nothing like that, because there's clearly enough people that's in this room that are saying, I have an openness for some help and some support and some advice when it comes to what I'm doing with money, bringing in more money or whatever it is. So that little bit of like, if I'm here and they're here, then there must be something that we share on some level. And it helps people be a little bit more open and get more answers.
okay. Now you practice Reiki. You mentioned Reiki, and there are
Yes.
some people who are not familiar with Reiki. Like I'm very bare minimum familiar with it. Like my mom is a Reiki practitioner, but that's one of those
Hey,
things
shout out
that
to moms.
mommy, she been laying hands on me since I was a child. So I'm like, I don't really. She explains certain things to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm not discounting mom. It's not that, but it's just like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's always good to hear from different people, different people's perspectives. Because my mother's
Mm-hmm.
telling me from her perspective, and at the end of the day, she's still my mother. So I'm like,
Yeah, I got you.
like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
mommy. For those people that are unfamiliar with Reiki, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you explain what Reiki is, and how would you explain what the benefits of it are?
Now this is always so fun for me because I always tell you there's no way that I can explain Reiki and I don't sound crazy. it just There's no way I can explain it. But um the easiest way that I have come after my years of having to explain Reiki to people is that I explain to them that we all come from the one maker. And that one maker is always connected to us. And if I'm that open with the one maker that we have, and the energy and the creations that he allows through his army and through the energy flow, because energy never it can never stop. It only keeps flowing and it keeps going and it can only change. And so if I'm open to and willing to open myself up to the energy flow of the maker, then he can come through me and help you in the ways that you need. It is a light source, and we know the light source is our creator. And so I'm only just being a vessel of light through a human form in comparison to something that is stationary, like maybe a Bible. He is only utilizing me as a vessel to bring to you what you need in the moment. And that's how I explain Reiki to people. But it has to do with the one light force of the earth, of that we're all connected and that we have the ability to utilize that to help each other and ourselves, and all living things actually. Um, Teenagers. I got teenagers. It's okay. I have teenagers. So that's how I usually explain it, because once I get into like the technicalities, people get lost in it. Like kind of how you're saying, like, your mom can explain it to you over and over again. But when you break it down to just the source that has made us, that has given us our essence, still operates, still has a vibration, still sends out love, still sends out energy, messages, words, all of those things. And I'm just merely a vessel of that light that started with the creation of the creator. It gets a little bit more simple to understand, I would hope, but most of the times people kind of be like, oh, okay, yeah. But it's the theory that we all have the light flowing through us, and we can utilize it to help our energy within ourselves and then other people, to raise the vibrational energy around us, within us, and stuff like that. So, and the biggest benefit, because I can't get up on here and be telling people like, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do this, because everybody utilizes Reiki different. And Reiki also unlocks different gifts within different people. So within me, mediumship was laying dormant. I had no idea. I mean, I experienced it, but I had no idea that that was my gift. Whereas someone else may be more, have more empathy, or empathetic. Is that, what is it? Empath. Like, they might be an empath, right? And so, Reiki may unlock that in them, where they can just walk in a room and they feel everything. I don't necessarily have that, but what I can do is like connect to spirits and hear them talking and relay a message. Well, once you get attuned to that energy of God's source, or the source of light, because you're not supposed to connect God to it, but that's me personally. That's my source is God. Then it can, like, enlighten you and bring you to more of who you are supposed to be, and what was, probably hidden from you, or restricted within you, or told you can't be. Because we're all here to live in a better, in our purpose, in our light. And so we face a lot of things that try to dim our light. And so it kind of just brings you back to the gift that God gave you and what he sent you here for. And so that's the best benefit that I've had in being attuned to Reiki. But when it comes to the Reiki benefits, I'm gonna go with the generic, and then I'm gonna tell y'all what it really be doing. You know what I'm saying? So the generic thing that we're supposed to tell you, so that there's no legal issues, is that Reiki can help you relax, and that Reiki is beneficial to your mood and can help make you feel happier, and help reduce stress and anxiety. Okay?
Okay.
But let me tell you what Reiki really be up in here doing, okay? Because Reiki be up in here changing lives, okay? Reiki can go up there and transmute and transform stuff you've been carrying from past lives, this life. You was 3 and took a wound. Reiki could get up in there and heal it, unlock it for you, so you know to release it, and give you that light. Because the light and the darkness cannot coincide in the same place, so you can only have one or the other. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have the light and the darkness within you, but they cannot be in the same exact space. So if I'm holding on to something that's very sad, or makes me triggered all the time, it cannot be there if I'm healing it. So Reiki can get deep into that soul and help you really elevate and push your life forward. It can also help bring in money. It can help heal your energy connection, because it's an energy source. And so if it connects the energy, then the Reiki can help. I'm not using manipulate in a negative. I know it usually has a negative like connotation to it, but I'm not saying in that way. I'm saying manipulate in a way where it benefits you. If you have, a negative experience with money, or you have a negative opinion on money, that's all energetic. That's all what you feeling, what you thinking, what you're projecting off of you. Reiki can go help and eliminate that. My favorite thing to do with it is cut cords. Like, let's this is energetically showing between you and this and that. Let's cut it. Let's just get rid of it. But on a legal stance, I'm not supposed to say that, because I can get in trouble. But I'm gonna tell y'all what it really be doing. But it also takes a person who wants to really learn all of the ways that they can utilize Reiki to learn that and do that, because some people only do it from a standpoint of like, I'm just channeling energy to help you feel relaxed. That's just their whole stance on it, because different Reiki practitioners, they provide and do different Reiki things. Me, I want to use it as many different ways we can, How I be sitting here like, so now that we've learned this, and this, God, show me other ways I can use it. Show me other ways. Let's find it all out. Because one thing that I learned in my own experience is I don't have to hold on to shit. Sorry, I don't know if I could cuss. I don't have to hold on to nothing. I grew up in the experience most of my life where it was like you experienced it, it hurt you, time will heal. Well, okay, I'm almost 30 and they shit healing. So now what do we do? What do we do now? Because I can't, it's not, I'm not, what did Solange say? She tried to dance it away, sing it away,
I
whatever
tried
she
to
was saying.
smoke it away.
I,
I tried to do all the things. It's still
I
here.
tried to do it all. I done tried to pray this all. It still hurt. Now what? My first Reiki session, I sat there and cried for 4 hours. 4 hours straight. I didn't even know I didn't even know I could have that much water in my body to cry for 4 hours straight.
Wow.
But it was a release, a release, a release. I had no idea I was even carrying that much. And I was so free. I mean, I wasn't healed because that didn't happen, but I was free. And so I don't want to encourage other people to go against what we legally supposed to say, but for the sake of people who need to know and hear it, you know what I mean? Like they got to know that it's much more than, oh, I'm gonna help you relax. No, it ain't the cure, for everything. That also is that's a misconception of Reiki itself, is that Reiki can cure everything. There's some things I can't touch. There's some things I can't do. There's some things I can't. The Reiki light can't always unravel everything. If you have a certain curse on your family, you have a certain this, and I'm told it has to be undone with whatever um somebody kind of did, like, however they did it, it got to be undone with that. This because it's different modalities, so I don't want to start naming any because I'm not going to be putting, because you can do something negative and not even practice a modality. You know what I'm saying? Because the power of the mind, the power of the tongue. So I'm not about to tie modalities to anything like that. But there are things I cannot do as a Reiki practitioner. And so I don't like that either when people try to push it and be like, oh, whatever is the problem, Reiki can heal it. Because that ain't always it either. But the things that it can do, let's use it in every way possible. Let's do it. Let's do it.
No, and it's so I love that you said that because it's like it's not, I've definitely had this conversation with my dad before about, some people have some conceptions about certain modalities about, oh, this is, they've attached some morality to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is good, this is bad, this is evil, this is this. And I had to explain to him, I said, a practice is just a practice. It's just a tool. It's all about the heart of the practitioner and the intention of whatever the person. What there was, you could use anything for good and bad, and that's subjective.
And not to
Good and
attack
bad
any
is subjective.
particular religion, but I have to have this debate quite often with people who try to tell me I'm not, a true Christian, or I'm not this, or I'm not following the word of God, and I have to tell them your tool is just as the same as my tool. I said in the same way that your tool is used to get teenagers into marriages that are arranged to people double they don't act like all everything is good and everywhere. There's a problem in their darkness. And so if somebody takes what I do and they manipulate it in a way that's negative, that's within them. But you can't say that about everybody or the practice itself. Because if we go picking everything apart, maybe everybody gonna fall short.
Exactly.
Because we are human. And sometimes people don't overcome their greed. They don't overcome their darkness. They don't overcome um they I don't even want to say flesh like that because that's not even really what it be. It more so be their ego. They don't overcome it. And so I don't really like that's why I'm saying I'm not going to attach something negative to anybody's modality because literally all practices has the balance of the good and the evil. Now I will say Reiki itself, the light cannot harm. That's another thing. I don't like that recently people have been saying like that they've been experiencing attacks with Reiki and all this other stuff. And I want to point out that's usually a human error. That's not the light. The light cannot harm. But people, when they learn how to manipulate energy or how to get into someone's energetic field, if they don't have the right intention or they didn't learn it because they want to help others heal, then that's a result of that. But it's not the Reiki light. So I know it's kind of been a thing like that coming up lately too, but it's like the light itself cannot do that. So I need people to understand that.
Oh, absolutely. And I like that you brought up like energetic fields and even just some of that mindset of like someone thinking, well, this could hurt someone. And it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, if we're talking about being a worker of the light and working, in the divine source does not hurt. That's not how that works. Like that's not,
Mm-mm.
so, you know, that, like you're saying, it comes that now you're talking about human error. Now you're talking about the heart of the practitioner. Now you're talking about whatever the
Right.
intention was behind it. And that goes with anything,
That goes with
like
everything.
that goes with anything, right? Like it's
Everything. Like,
everything,
Reiki is no different. Yeah,
it,
we supposed to live by, our principles. We supposed to live by, being kind to all living beings. But just because somebody take an oath don't mean that they gonna plan to uphold it. And sometimes people don't do enough for themselves first before they start wanting to do for others. I stayed to myself for a couple of years. And funny enough, I never had plans on practicing publicly. That was not in my plan. So it was not in my plan, but it's my destiny, and I have to. It's gonna always bring you right back to where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Always. Just like I had no idea there was even a spiritual Twitter. No idea. Funny enough, no. Funny enough, what happened was I was on my personal page and I posted an oracle card. And when I posted the oracle card, I started getting kind of like messages from people that wasn't following me, like, oh, do you do tarot too? And I'm like, no. Like, what? Again, my fears, my fighting my destiny. I'm like, no. I had the same misconceptions that a lot of people had. I was very ignorant due to my background in Christian, being raised a Christian and then having a Catholic grandmother. And I was very ignorant to a lot of things. And I was like, to me, a tarot deck and what's that thing called? A Ouija board was the same. I wasn't touching no tarot. Get out of here. What? Who are you talking to? Leave me and my angel decks alone. Leave me. I don't do no tarot. And the lady was like, well, I don't think you know what it is. And I was like, well, ain't the devil card there? She was like, yeah, but that don't have nothing to do with what you're talking about. She was like, look, I'll send you a couple of videos. I said, okay, well, I'll watch them. Baby, they read me. And it was no way that all 6 videos that I watched knew my business so well. They all had different decks. They all had something else. Like, I was like, how they all got the same story though? What's going on here? And so it opened my eyes up. But again, I had no plans on having a tarot deck. I had no plans on being a public tarot reader. I had no plans on the notoriety that I had. Nothing. I had no plans on that. I was on my personal page and I started going, the friends I have in person, they get me. They know what I'm using these cards for. But I don't want no judgment from the people that, follow me on Twitter, this and that. So I started a whole new page and started practicing. Because the people that I personally knew at that point in time wasn't about to let me read tarot for them. So the few people that had already asked me on my personal page, I added them to the other one. And I was like, I don't really want it attached. I just don't want to be arguing with people, this and that. And it all took off. It just all took off. So like I said, my spiritual journey has been interesting because that goes back to what I'm saying about the enlightenment, the Reiki light, the community. If that girl would have never been kind to me and reached out and said, I think you might be a little confused, God sent her to me because I was supposed to be doing it publicly. But I was fearful of the judgment, of the, of funny enough, of being on the other side. because I was like, tarot, oh my God, no. No, why would I? That's like a Ouija board. And she was like, they're totally different. This, and she was like, but she was kind. And so those experiences have helped me a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't say nothing for I think 2 years, 2.5 years. I would just only pull my little angel card for me and my baby. Because he too was healing because of the situation that I went through. He was in the household too. So it was like I would do that to make sure he felt some encouragement, that he felt the light, I got him in the necessary support and help. My friend circle also surrounded my baby and helped heal him too. Um, but it was just a matter of like facing a lot of those things and understanding not everything is bad. And things that are quote unquote considered bad, it can be that for everything. I was just gonna say I said all that to say back to agree with you. I don't know I rambled like that, but
Okay. Again,
I was saying all that to agree with you.
it's
Like
all listen. There's many ways to get to the same place, and I'm always interested to hear all of the different ways and how people think and what their journey is, which is why I asked you.
yeah. But no, I had I had I was gonna be private for the rest of my life. Ask me. Yeah, ask me. Yeah, I wasn't. That wasn't. And I was like, you know, oh, this is cool. I felt like, oh, this is cool. And then it was like, wait, what's going on? Like, oh, wait, you want me to read for you? It was a real, like, I was sucked into something. It was not, I went chasing after it. So I don't have the same experience that a lot of people have when it comes to certain things. Like, some people dived into tarot, like, they had interest in it. I wouldn't buy a tarot deck for the 3 months. 3 months. The guy kept putting the same one in my face. And I would purposely walk past it, buy an oracle. I kept buying oracles. But I had to release myself from that. I had to release myself from feeling like practices and tools had like negativity or would bring me negativity. They really only helped my life. They really did. I hope other people can, at some point, the people that's watching us right now, they probably already open to the tools. But other people, you
No,
know?
but I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, some people like I've met over the years, they have an experience with one type of modality, and they don't know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff. Like like a lot of girls are crystal girls. I'm not a crystal girl, right? Like that's not my.
What?
It's
I
not.
heard
I
about
have. I don't have anything against it. That's just not. I'm a herbs girl, like,
that.
and
What?
like
I had no
some people.
idea.
Yeah, like I'm not like I couldn't tell you nothing about a crystal girl. I don't know nothing about it, and I'm always fascinated to hear all of the different things about. And it's not that I don't believe that. It's just everybody is
You're not a crystals girl. Oh
everybody
my god.
gravitates towards different modalities.
Baby, I will use a crystal so fast. But I
My mom
also
too. Like my mom lives for a crystal. I'd be like, girl, I couldn't tell you the difference between Tiger's eye jet. I couldn't tell you nothing about that. It's just not it's not in my wheelhouse, but I don't discount it, right? I love
yeah.
hearing the crystal girls talk about the crystals. I'd be like, that is fascinating. What? And then in the same
That's how I
token,
feel about
like,
astrology.
yeah, like, and then exactly this on the same token, there's
It
the astrology
sounds
girls, and you'd be like,
it
what the?
sounds like an ancient language. I can get some of what they talking about the moment they start talking about anything past the regular 12 signs, the houses, and sunrise, moon, and after that, I'll be like,
Nah,
oh,
they
what?
go they go in. Now, don't get me
They be
wrong.
going in the
I
degrees
love
and
it.
I be
Right?
like,
Like, okay, wait, I'm still confused. But like I have girlfriends, good sister friends that they love astrology, and I just love to listen to them talk about it.
I love it.
I'm always interested in their perspective on it because I'm like, this is a whole, like you're saying, it's like an ancient language. This whole thing is like,
I'll
wow,
be
this is
like, oh, this is
great.
so cool. I know it's not for me though, but this is so
Yeah, I'm
cool.
like, I'm never gonna be that deep to be able to read the full chart and do it. Like, I know a little, I know enough. I'm still
Yeah,
fascinated. I respect the girls, enough respect to the girls. Same thing with tarot, right? Same thing with, this people that read. There used to be this girl on YouTube back in the day. I wonder where she went. I forgot what her name was. I don't know if it was Queen of Wands or something, and she used to
Was it the
read.
Queen of Cups girl? Was she from Canada?
Was she from Canada? She used to read the Bones.
Oh, I don't know, but it
It
was
was a
one
girl
girl
that
named
used to,
Queen of
she
Cups.
used to shake. No, she used to have a cup, and in the cup she had bones, trinkets, all these little things, and she would shake the cup, and she would throw the cup on the table, and then she had a little wand, and she would pour through the thing, and I'd be like, "What the hell
Oh,
is
that's fast. I
this?"
would watch that
Yo,
all day.
I gotta see if
I
I can
would watch
find this
that
girl.
all
I
day.
ain't seen her in years, but I swear I was like, "What is that?" And then I met people that read Bones, and then I read a little for myself in here, right? Like there's some stuff I'm like, again, I'm not public with it, but a lot of things.
Yeah,
But,
I feel
I
you.
try my hand at it because the whole thing about all of these practices is, you gravitate towards the things that truly work with your spirit, and that that you can recognize, like that you can recognize, right? So the girl with the bones, she recognized that, and I was like, this is fantastic. And there are some times where, like even for me, when I started working my white table, I used to have these moments of like not fear, but like I would get very like overwhelmed, like, oh shit, real, like this is real. Like there's a moment there's like a time, there's a thing that happens in the midst of doing all of your stuff, that when connects you go, oh shit. And then like you just kind of like stop for a second. Like I've definitely had moments like that where I had to sit on the edge of the bed, like, wait a minute now.
Right. What did I just do? What was
Did I
that?
just do?
What portal I just opened?
I literally just heard somebody saying something to me. Okay, wait a minute. Wait, no, I'm not ready for that. And then sometimes you'll be like, I'm not ready for that. And then you like go back into your little retreat, and then you have like this back and forth. And there's some people that they naturally have the thing that they have, and they don't even think about it. Like it comes to them so natural, and they not even, if you was to ask them like, how do you do this, they'd be like, girl,
I don't know. I just do.
I just do it. And you be like, like the girls that read the tea leaves. What the fuck is that?
Oh, that is so fascinating. Oh my gosh. I be begging. I be like, it's so funny because I read
and you look in that cup and you seen something in the cup, and something in the cup talk to you. What do you mean?
Yeah. And it's funny enough. I read tarot, right? Like that's cool. Like I read, but I be wanting people to explore past tarot so much, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I read tarot. It has to do with the fact that I am fascinated by other people's gifts, and I feel like it stunned some people. Like like it got popular, and it was just like everybody got I'm like, okay, cool. You read that. Now go pick up some rooms and tell me what you see there. Like, I be wanting to be like,
go the rooms, girl.
I be wanting to be like, okay, now go do a cup of tea and tell me what you see there. It's just so fascinating. Like, I just feel like, I am so excited for the day that more things get explored. I already told people I'm not coming down on people like, okay, all of us that can't read reading. So it's not that. I personally don't have it within me to learn more things, so I want other people. It's like Reiki is not one of those things where you get attuned and you know everything about it. It's not like that. I spent so much time learning how to utilize the Reiki light, and that's where a lot of my learning goes into. But it's like the people that don't do tarot plus, I'd be like, okay, now you got the tarot down. Go do something cooler and tell me what you see. Like, because I think it's just so many cool things out there, and so many ways to connect to source, and so many ways to get some messages, and how you can help somebody. And it's just, I am a fan. I'd be a fan of everything. I'd be like, okay, now all you did was use some index cards and you got all of that. Oh, do it again. I'd be like, do it again.
Where's the girls that's reading palms? All right, where's the palm readers? Okay,
yes, where are the palm readers?
You see something in my hand, and what?
Yes, where are the palm readers?
I want to know. Like there's so many different forms of divination.
Oh, so many.
And I'm fascinated by them all.
I'm hoping in the next few years people be like, not bored with tarot, but like they understand that they have accomplished that they got that down, and then now find more ways to get into today's spirituality and messages for them and messages for other people.
No, absolutely. And it's so funny you say that, because one of my favorite things about you online is your spirit baby prediction.
I knew we was going here.
Right? I love
I had a feeling we was going here.
I love it. Because I know from the outside looking in, people were like, who the hell is this woman? What the hell is she talking about?
Oh, I've been getting dragged.
Baby? Like, baby. And I know, especially now, people are like, in this economy, in this political climate.
I be like this. I stay with
listen,
the Drewski meme. He be like this. I stay with this one because look, I'm just telling you what I was told. I don't want no problems. I don't want no issues. Look, this is what I was told. This is what I was shown. But that back to facing our fears. So again, that was not something I saw to be one of my gifts or to be a part of what I do. Even you could probably even search it on my damn Twitter. But I had somebody else do a reading for me. And I was telling her, like, I really appreciate her. I really love what she do. And I think it's super cool that she could do pregnancy readings and all this stuff. And I said, maybe one day I could, learn what you do and this and that. I'm like, but, that's just not a gift that I have. And she was like, well, maybe you should just try it. And I was like, no, I don't think I know. Predicted pregnancies just seem like that's a little risky, and I don't think that's my gift. No. Me and her had another conversation. She was like, well, I'm sorry. I know you don't know me like that. You have to read them with me, but I just wanted to, say it again. Like, maybe you should, try. Just like, here we go with this again. Okay, well, okay. And next thing I knew, I told God, I said, if that's something that is in my that's something that I've learned to do. If this is in my destiny and this is something that is within me, reveal it to me, show it to me, show me how to use it, and make me comfortable with it. Next thing I know, I look at somebody and I'm like, I look at them and they got their normal body. But when I'm looking at them, they got a belly on their body. Which is how I knew Haley was going to have her baby, because I seen a commercial of the Little Mermaid. It was regular. I went to sleep. I had to dream about her in the water, but she was pregnant. So, but I had already been doing it before then, but it was just a shocker to me that all I had to say to God was like, if this is what you want me to do, this is something I'm supposed to be doing. Show me how I'm supposed to use it. Show me what to do with it. Show me. Because if you leave it up to me, I'm not going to just do it. Because to me, some things are what I would consider out of my wheelhouse. And I don't never want to be pushing energy. I don't ever want to be pushing to own a gift that ain't mine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, show me and clarify to me that I'm not forcing it. Clarify to me that I'm not giving this to myself because I think it's cool. And baby, he was like this. Okay, I'll show you. Every time I see somebody, I can either see a pink or a blue, like a orb near them. That's the only orbs I can see. My son can see orbs. I can't. That's the only time. If it's a baby that's not, if I don't see a person with a belly full, then I see a little pink or a little blue. Sometimes it'll be orange or yellow. And I'll see it like on them in their aura. And I'd be like, oh, they about to have a baby. Oh, they about to have a baby. Sometimes I don't even say nothing. But the few times that I have, it's interesting to see the response. Like you said.
What has some of the responses been? I can only imagine, but like, I can only imagine. Like, because it's like, how do you tell somebody, hey?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not in a position where I'm telling them to their face. Most people who I've told to their face, they're asking me directly that. I've never ever walked up to somebody and said, hey, just want to let you know you're gonna have a baby soon. I would faint. Like, I'm such a nervous person. I would faint. I wouldn't even make it to the person. I would be like, hi, I just want to say hi, and I'd run off. Like, that's my personality. Most of it has been me seeing like people across my timeline. Or somebody saying, oh, this person, like, I don't follow a lot of celebrities, but if somebody retweets them on my timeline or they're discussing them, I see it. I think the first one was the Cardi one, and I took a lot of backlash for that one, a lot of it, because it was like, what? You're fanned out. You're crazy. You're this. You're that. And I was just saying, she's gonna have another little girl at some. Okay, all right. I just was like, it kind of shut me down a little bit. The one I think I took the most heat from was the Rihanna one. No,
Really?
the one that I took the most people having being upset about was the Rihanna one. The one that I took the biggest impact on, like that really bothered me, what was being said to me was the Haley one.
Mm.
That one was hard for me because like I actually was excited because I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot of excitement around her having. I didn't even know she was gonna hide her pregnancy. I just knew, oh my gosh, she's about to have a baby, and they both looked so happy. So I got happy, and I tweeted it, and then as it kept going, it just progressed into like, what do you want, a cookie or whatever people were saying to me, and I'm like, no, actually, no. But then I got mad, and I was like, actually, yeah. Because I realized the gift that I have is actually worth, like, yeah, please, actually say good job. I don't know, something, but you don't have to be mean to me about it because I can see it or that I said it. They're public figures. It's not like I know what they will or won't be hiding. You know, with Rihanna, I knew she had a bunch of protection around her. So I had worded it in a way where it was like, if not now, soon. That's how I word it when I know they got a bunch of protections on them. You know, because I don't want to push it too much. But yeah, so when it comes to certain public figures, a lot of their fans or a lot of the I don't know what they're usually called when they don't like the people. I don't really know what they're called. But like when I was talking about Cardi, I got a lot of the opposing people coming for me, and I was just like, I don't even know what's going on here. I was just like, I just saw it, and it was very early on, and so I would get excited when I could see the baby, or when a baby would talk to me, because sometimes I could look at somebody or be talking to somebody, and I'll get the baby come and say, "Can you tell my mom?" Blah 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 blah, and then the baby goes back away, and I'm like, okay, hold on, and I'll, you know, so that has also been an interesting gift to see blossom in my life. So, and it was confirmed to me through a past life reading that my soul has done what I do for many, many lifetimes, but in a different way. So apparently I was like, I don't know what they're called, but I used to, I guess, help all the royal families get pregnant and heal their
Mm.
womb spaces.
Okay.
And that was before anybody even knew some of the stuff that I was working on. So I was already working on my products, and I was already doing the red rose relief. I was channeling this recipe, and I kept saying it didn't make sense what they was telling me to put in it. But the reason it didn't make sense to me because I didn't take my herbalism class yet. So when they kept saying cinnamon, and I'm thinking, okay, but anyway, I had to do a little research, and I found out there's two different cinnamons. So there's the cinnamon that you use for medicinal purposes, and then there's the cinnamon that we be like sweetening stuff up with. I didn't understand that, but when I got my reading, that particular person didn't know I was doing that. So I kind of had to sit with myself, like, okay, so this whole womb healing, cleaning and healing, cleansing, fertility thing, this is going deeper than what I just initially thought. And so I had to really kind of. It took me about 6 months to really allow the integration of that information and then figure out how I'm going to use it now. So the baby thing I feel like is just maybe a sector of me being able to have that soul attachment to the past lives where I helped babies and stuff like that. I feel like maybe over my lifetimes they've become to see me as somebody they can trust with the messages, or to tell their family, hey, can you let them know I'm coming?
No, I find it's all connected, right? So like as we were talking, you know, we are talking about clearing the energy using Reiki and like helping people come to terms with certain concepts and certain self talk that they have about themselves and certain wounds and traumas and things like that. And then like as things are clearing, it's making room for new life and new things and new beings to come through, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like how this whole concept of, you know, and a lot of practices of the fact that we choose our parents and we choose to come in the life that we come into. So even though we might experience some really harsh hardships and like some things that are unpleasant, we still somehow chose to come in this time to these people, to this family, to this thing. And I just think that that's beautiful. That
I'm gonna tap on that just a little bit. I know we're getting off a little bit off course because we're
no,
supposed to be
no,
doing,
no, go in, go in.
but you brought it up, so I'm gonna just pick it back off of that just a little bit on the fact of like I've had this conversation with people, and it's really hard for them to digest when I have to tell them like you went through hard times, and yes, you chose that family, and I have to explain to them the separation of it. You chose those family members, or it was already destined with you, and because you connected to that bloodline, and those were the people that was available for you to be born to. But here's the thing: a lot of times, the babies do choose. The parents follow up incorrectly. Babies are supposed to be an inspiration for new beginnings, an inspiration to do better, an inspiration to fix our lives and see where things can be better or what we can offer. A lot of times it's the parents who drop the ball because they do not face the things that need to be fixed. And unfortunately, what happens is the baby pays for it. What we can't do is control the free will. So, yeah, we choose our parents and we go through hardships, but we also don't choose 100% the hardships. We choose to come in and inspire change and inspire shifts and pray and hope that on the entrance of our lives, parents start to do better and see themselves as having more to lose or having more to cherish. But we don't get to control that part of it. And so we end up being within those situations where maybe the life we chose when we were born would have been more positive, but our parents didn't necessarily make those adjustments, you know? So um, I try to tell people that because sometimes people feel guilty. They hold guilt in themselves about, that information of like, well, you get to choose what family and bloodline and parents, and they be like, so I chose to go through this, this, and that. No, no, no. You didn't choose to go through those things at all. You chose to be an inspiration to people to change. And unfortunately, they just didn't
Yeah,
have the information.
they have free will too, and
Mm-hmm.
they chose something else, and like
Yeah.
we have a lot of opportunities for choice. Like every day is a chance to choose something different, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, which is
Every
why
day.
you find a lot of people who, yeah, you might have had a horrible relationship with your parents when you was younger, and in time things may get better, and then your parent might not be a good parent to you. They might be a better grandparent than they were a parent because they got that perspective,
Yeah.
and again, it's still not on you as the child to have resentment towards them to be like, well, they weren't that to me. When it was like, well, they wasn't, they wasn't. That's true.
Mm-mm.
That is true. Those two things can be true at once.
Yeah, it definitely can.
And I think, like, for me, like, as I've gotten older, I've just looked at my parents with way more compassion than I had when I was younger. I look at them now and I'm like, yeah, they got older, but I still see them as like these young people. I see, like, there was
Yeah.
a time when I used to be fighting with my mom crazy, and like I was fighting with my mom, and we was in we was like in one of our really
I
bad
can relate.
times.
Oh, I can
And we was
relate.
fighting. And it was just one moment I was in the shower and we were in the middle of fighting, and just in a moment I just seen my mom as like a 12-year-old girl. I was in there sobbing. I was like, oh my God, mommy,
Yeah.
I don't want to fight with mommy. I don't want to fight
Yeah.
with her. And I was
Yeah.
so upset because I was like, I was like, well, would you argue? Would you yell at a 12-year-old child? Would you yell at an 11-year-old child? Would you yell at a not? Like, of course not. Of course not. I would never. And it's like, okay, now, all right, is my mom 12? Of course not. She's not 12. But there was something in that moment of arguing with her that made me realize, like, she's just, she ain't have everything figured out. That my dad didn't have everything figured out. These people did what they could. And then, like when we talk about, what it means for children to choose, and babies to choose. It's like, I don't know. I guess I'm very visual. So I'm in my mind, I'm envisioning like you're saying, like they going off, okay, this is the best what we have available right here. Okay. The
But
best
also,
possible.
remembering now we have our own karmic already. We already bringing our past life stuff. So it's a trade off. It's what are we bringing to these people? What are they helping us through? And and this goes back to what I was saying about group settings, right? Because you have no idea that my dad is a bad dad, but he's a good grandfather. But you said it out your mouth, and I can relate to that. The same with my mom. Sometimes I see her as her 10-year-old self. But I used to not be like that. I used to fight with my mom so hard, like, you the mom, what is you doing? And then I grew up and I see her differently. And then also I learned what I learned. I went through my spiritual healing. She lost her father at 10. That was never healed within her. That little girl that's in her is just miss her dad. And so she act out a lot of times. Not as much as before. We've gotten a lot better, but she just did not make sense to me. And then I just started seeing her literally as her 10-year-old self. So that goes back to everything being alignment. It's no coincidence that we on this call. You know what I'm saying? We can relate. I started seeing her as her 10-year-old self. And it's like, are you hurting? Come here. I have to show my mom a lot more love now. Where I was searching real hard, like, you're the mom. You're supposed to love me so much. Like, what are you doing? Like, it feels like you don't even like me. But she was just a woman with 2 kids who got married, who thought she was not going to do it by herself, who, after her kids was 5 and 3, she is now doing it alone and having to find her security again within herself while also paying all these bills. And it's like, I can't, like, I just want to hug you right now because I get it. And it can be so shell shocking to have to be like taking a step back and no longer being the daughter and no longer being someone looking at somebody older and going, you're supposed to take care of me, and seeing it in yourself and going, I chose her because I'm supposed to bring her unconditional love. We supposed to be loving each other. We supposed to be figuring this out together. No wonder we keep going in a circle around the same argument. This our karmic we got to work through. This our karmic energy. We got to heal this. And I get it. Like, I get it. Without you saying a lot of words, I get it. And it's not easy. But it's a trade-off. We choose them and they choose us in some form or way.
No, absolutely. And oh, this has been so good. Oh gosh, girl, you got me in my
It's
feelings right
okay.
now. I'm
It's
gonna call
obvious.
my
It's
mom
okay.
when
I'm
I get
sending you
home.
all the
Like,
love.
mommy.
You can't see it. You can't. You probably. I'm sending you all the hugs. All the hugs are being sent directly to you.
Oh gosh, I call my mom when we're done. I call
She'll
my
love to hear
mama.
from you. I'm sure.
Um, what advice would you give to somebody who's just beginning on their spiritual journey?
The advice I would give somebody on if they just starting, I would say give yourself time. Grant yourself time. Time to understand what's within yourself. Time to explore modalities. Time to explore tools. Don't start feeling your ascension and be like, oh, I gotta be exactly where my fave is at. Don't mirror, don't mock, don't do any of those. Cause your journey gonna be yours. And yes, you'll come along people who help you and they can add here and and then you can help and add to somebody else. But grant yourself the time to be to yourself. Grant yourself the time to explore what intuition even feels like, where it's even leading you, what messages it are. Like, there's this rush to be this all knowing. Get grounded. Start at your root chakra. Get grounded. Feel safe. Feel safe within yourself. Feel safe within your friendships. Feel safe within your bonds and relationships, in your job, in your money, in your career. Like, really follow the chakras. Like, get grounded. Know who you are before you start branching out to do anything else. Know what it's like to be here in the physical. But that stuff takes time. There's no rush, baby. The spiritual journey don't stop. You're gonna do it. to the day you pass, and then when you come right back in your next lifetime, however that may be. So don't rush to be what you perceive to be the ideal spiritualist, because you might not even end up to be that as you take your time um to really just digest and implement and embody and love on yourself and the life that you created for yourself. That would be my piece of advice to somebody.
Okay. Do you have like a favorite book or resource that helped you that you would recommend to someone? Or I mean, it doesn't have to be anything spiritual. It just, I mean, there's sometimes it's a book that you read that you're like, damn, this shit really touched me. I got a book that I read. Like I read this book um by Pete Hamill a long time ago called Forever. And it was about this man who it starts off in like Ireland and in like Ireland in like the 1500s or something like that. And then he comes to America and then he meets like an enslaved person on a ship. And it's like this
Oh
whole
wow.
thing. Like, and
I think I actually know what book you're talking about, but I haven't
oh,
read it.
it was so good. I wish they would have made a movie from it because then he spends his life in New York, working as a reporter. That's like his job, working as like a news reporter, and he gets
Mm-hmm.
granted with this gift of immortality. So he's as long as he doesn't leave the island of Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to stay in Manhattan and report on the news and just like he's reported on the change of times and how like people have
Oh
changed or
wow.
whatever. And it was like so interesting. And then I randomly found that book. I was on a job almost 20 years ago, working in an office, and I was like being nosy, poking
Oh,
around
that's so
the storage
cool.
thing, and it was like one of the books that was in there, and I was like, oh, let me read this book. But yeah,
Love
like
that.
so
Love a
like
good random find.
just random. Like I love finding a random book. So is there
Now when it
any books?
comes Now, when it comes to the books you talking about, baby, I read filth. Okay, I don't.
That's
I,
okay, because my last guest, we had a whole thing about
I,
smut and and and
I read the
and
filth. Okay,
romance novels. We don't judge here. We don't judge.
when it comes to reading, I done read Jaquan and his baby mamas, and I read the crazy stuff. But it's because well, first off, I got 4 Leo placements, so when it comes to drama, I like it. I love it. I just don't want to live it. Is what I know about myself. When it comes to like a spiritual book though that helped me the most, I would say it's the Heal Your Body
Okay.
by Louis Hayes. Not or Louise. I don't know if it's a
Louise
woman or
Hayes.
not.
Okay.
Louise Hayes.
Yes.
That book helped me a lot. Um, because it helped me pinpoint the things I was physically feeling and understanding more of what I needed to focus on. And it ain't a whole lot that's in it. It's like you go to the body part, you go to the affirmation, and you go to I think that's all that's in there. Is a body part that tell you, explain it to you and then tell you how to fix it. But with the affirmation. And it's real simple, it's real straightforward, but it helped me understand my physical body a lot and how things manifest in your life and what it can represent. And just in my own practice of Reiki and knowing that the right side of the body is the masculine side and the left side is the feminine side, depending on what side I was hurting or if I kept hitting my knee on my right side, I would know I'm either about to get into an argument with a feminine or I'm gonna have to walk away from one or I'm walking into a new friendship. I didn't always know how it was gonna be, but it would be like my physical was showing me what was going on. It was giving me clues. So that book is really helpful to me personally. I mean, I recommend it to anybody anytime because it's a lot easier to know if you're like feeling something in your arm. Okay, maybe you giving in or asking too much. Knowing how the body correlates to energy. I found that to be very helpful. Um, aside from that, I'm big on my crystal diary. I mean, I'm sorry, my crystal dictionary, as well as my herbalism books. But I mean, that's all just kind of studying and perfecting, like, and fine tuning my knowledge for what I need to do for clients and then for products. But oh no, I like me a good dramatic, messy ass book. Like I like even the TV I watch. But what I've learned is that all energies must be present at, there's a balance. And the more peace I internally find, I noticed that hardships would try to find me too. But the brain and the body is an interesting place. And so if it's on TV and I've watched it, my body thinks we've experienced it, but I technically have not. And so I keep going. Most people be like, how can you watch that? You're a Reiki practitioner. Baby, I am still human and I still like the drama. I just don't want to live a dramatic life, but I'm going to watch me a good dramatic.
I love some scandal and some turmoil. And not in my personal life.
Yeah, I don't want to live it, but I'm going to for sure watch it.
But I love some drama. I love a good thriller. I love to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. That's just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me a good suspense thriller. I love it. What I have learned, though, when it comes to reading the books that I do or watching TV, what I've done, though, now that I have emotionally and spiritually matured, is that I detach from it. I understand how the brain and the body works and tries to attach to it and bring it in. So I watch TV and I cut the cords with it, cleanse Florida water. I will wipe my TV down with Florida water and go on by my day. And it's helpful. It's helpful. I notice I don't have it show up in my, like when I was a teen or in my early 20s. I mean, plus those years of your life are just, they're just chaotic. But in my older years and where I'm at now, I just watch the drama to watch it, but there's not there's not an inspirational book I don't think I've ever read in my life. That's a good question, but I don't not the stories that I'm a CODIS winner ever, Omar Tyree type of girl. I
just talked about this with... You're gonna see the episode that comes out on the 10th with Iya Osundara, and she's a big romance enthusiast. And I asked her, I was like, "Did you read Fly Girl?" She was like, "Girl, it's still in my parents' house." Okay,
I was 12. I was 12 when I read that book.
We might actually have to do a whole episode about romance novels, hood novels,
African American literature, baby.
Like, I don't know.
We was 12 passing that book around.
Nah, that book went through some hands, and I forgot to ask her. Did you ever read Be More Careful?
Now that one I don't remember, but my introduction to those books.
Be More Careful. Oh God, that one was
the one. What's it called?
It was in the same family. Who was that by? I gotta find out. I gotta remember who it was.
Something about coffee. It was like
Milk in My Coffee.
Milk in My. That was my introduction. I was 12. And then we just kept going after that.
We just kept on passing them books back and forth. When
I look back, I'm like, I was way too young to be reading Zane. What was that about?
No, I was like 15. I was in 7th grade reading Zane. I had no business. I had no business reading Zane.
No business.
Like none.
None.
And it's so funny, like at least my parents. Well, I mean, I had enough sense to cover the books. I used to cover my books or whatever. Put a little different jacket on it or whatever, but they were just so happy that you was reading. They didn't care.
That's how my mom was. You want to go to Barnes and Noble? Oh, okay, come on, let's go.
Sure. Or go to the library. I go to the library and be reading all kinds of stuff I ain't supposed to be reading.
My mom wasn't 100% aware because my mom likes crime books. She will sit and read what's the guy's name? I forget, but she got all of them. It was real popular back in the 90s. She got the whole thing. And he was just...
like James Grisham and...
him.
Yeah,
all of those.
It's always some kind of murder or something going on.
It was always that. So she wasn't...
My mom watches a lot of murder mystery. That was her thing. She'll watch all kind of Murder She Wrote, Midsomer Murders, Dr. Brown, all kind of murder mystery, Matlock, Columbo.
That's my mom all day long with the books and the movies and the shows, though. All day long. So I haven't quite gotten into that yet, but yeah. So she was not really that aware. It wasn't until people started being like, "You let her read what?" I'm like, "Why don't y'all shut the hell up?"
No, I remember my mom had Fly Girl, and she read it. I don't know. I think my aunt at one point was a part of some book club that was sending these books to the house every month, right? And it was circulating like that. So I remember Fly Girl came to the house, and my mom read it. And I remember I wanted to read it because of the cover. Like the girl, you know, they had the girl with the door knocking earrings and the asymmetrical hair. And I was like, I want to read this book. And I remember as I was reading it, I was like,
clutch all the pearls.
And that was like the first time that me and my mom had like read the same thing almost at the same time. And my mother was like, she's fresh. And I was like, well,
not y'all was reading at the same time.
But it was kind of, but and then like my mom was like so like, she was like, this is so scandalous. And then I remember being like, I thought it was scandalous too, but then at the same time I was like, is it really? I was like, Mom, I don't know, I feel like you're being a little judgy. You know, and my mom was like, she's being fresh. And I was like, is she though? Because, you know, but
well, I will say
I had friends, right? Like I wasn't the one in the group that was really doing anything before my time. But I was gonna say who were. So I was kind of like, well, I can't even tell you what
you can't even say that, right? You can't even say like, well, my friends is worse than this, so she kind of lightweight, really.
Yeah,
mommy,
she kind of light with it, but
yeah,
I still want you to let me hang out with my friends. So I'm, yeah, of course, Mom, she's doing a lot, you know.
Exactly. So I used to I didn't even share nothing about what I was reading. I would just tell my mom, okay, I'm done. I need more books. As long as I was reading, my mom was really kind of like, you know. But I remember the first time I read Coldest Winter Ever, I was 14. I read it in 2 days. Like I'll be saying I'm gonna go back and read that book now, but it probably wouldn't be the same. I'd probably get really upset reading it now. But I don't know. I just something about that book. I read it in 2 days and I read it 3 times in high school.
Oh, that book was like so like, I don't know. Everybody wanted to be Winter. You know,
I didn't want to be Winter. I just, I don't know. I just kind of, I guess, related to the girl. Like I grew up in the hood. Like I grew up in the heart of neighborhood 60. So I related to like liking the cute boy, but he was a, you know, bad guy. Like, you know, it wasn't that I wanted to be her. It was just kind of like almost like reading the story of a homegirl who also dating somebody that you probably, you know, probably should be leaving alone. But they be hood, but they be caring. So it be hard. It be confusing. Like, you know, you so nice to me, but you be off in these streets doing crazy stuff. So it was more so like I didn't where I went to school and where I grew up was different. Okay. So I was bused. So the people that I went to school with, they didn't live that lifestyle that I did. They weren't always able to understand, you know, certain things that I was experiencing. So that book was comforting to me, like, oh, it's another girl that understands what it's like to date a man who's in these streets, but he not. So it was like, you know, it was relatable for me, you know. Okay. But I probably shouldn't have been dating him either. So
listen, we all that's in the hood, girl. Yes. Like, I have no business going out with this boy. All right, and
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I have. I ain't gonna tell him my business, but I have.
Right, I have stories.
My fair share of you should not be going out with that guy. Okay, like girl,
mm-hmm.
why
I got that too. Like I look back and I be like, whoa, what life was I living? What was going on there? Like.
But I don't know, like I'm from Brooklyn. I like a certain type of man. I went to school in Harlem. I'm from Brooklyn. I was just surrounded by, like, that was who I was with. You know, like I do feel a certain level of comfort with men, like from those places. So
yeah, I get it.
You know, it just is what it is. And I feel like the urban novels kind of gave the girls in the hood something, you know, because I mean, again, it wasn't fairy tale, but it was still love, novels, right? Like those. Everybody's not relating to that. Like, sorry, like these were stories about girls in the hood that wore clothes that we wore, that like the boys that we like.
Yep.
That's what drew us in, and it was drama, you know. And like like when my what Iya Osundara said in the last episode, she's just like, listen, as I love a toxic man in a book.
In a book. But see, here's the thing, though. I learned that in the book, I don't even really, I kind of don't like when they just straight toxic.
No.
They got to have some kindness in there somewhere.
Yeah. Like, she was like, listen, he's about to go shoot up the place over me for love. I live for that. I'm like, hey, guys, in the book. Would I want that? Hell no. Like, please, sir. Because I'm not holding nothing down. You go to jail, please do not call me because I'm not.
Yeah, there. I'm not her.
I can't do it. I don't have it.
You have good luck. I'm not her.
Good luck with that. But in a book.
Oh yeah,
That's
all day
why. That's
long.
why I understand why when people are like, oh, Tubi movies and this stuff. This I'm just like, listen. Some people like that. That's what speaks to some people. And guess what? That is still a viable. That's a viable industry. The same way how the hood and urban romance is a viable industry. As much as you look at those covers and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe who reads that. Trust me. Okay, they're getting right.
Somebody.
Someone is reading it. Okay, they are having a time. All right.
That's why I tell people all the time with the Tubi thing. I'll be like, y'all judging, but me, it has helped me because I don't gotta sit there and read the books all day long. I could just turn the movie on, watch it for an hour and a half, and I'm satisfied I've gone by my day. If I read it, I gotta sit down for too long, and I got a lot that's on my schedule. So
Yeah.
I don't
Listen.
got nothing against Tubi.
I ain't got nothing against Tubi either, and to be fair, I'm gonna be really honest. I'd rather it be fictional, right? I'd rather it be fictional, and it's it's a little cheesy. Yeah, y'all overacting. Yeah, the set might not be. That's fine. I don't mind that. I prefer that over some of these reality shows where you got people throwing real drinks on each other, having real physical altercations, being real like
That,
that
oh my
seems
God.
crazy. I'm sorry, I
I
don't care
can't
how it
watch that
sounds.
stuff
I
no
can't watch
more.
that stuff. I
Not
can't
no
do
more.
it. I
Not
can't
no
do it because
more.
I'm like, this is actually really crazy. And the fact that like people cannot discern, like younger people are watching it. Girls are growing, like with growing minds and like growing opinions about how to
Yeah.
engage with each other. They're watching these things and they're thinking that this is how you're supposed to engage with each other. We're supposed to yell and scream and fight and throw chairs and do all this stuff. Girl, no. I'd rather the Tubi movie. Watch the Tubi movie. Okay.
Right.
We
Let
used
it
to
be
have
fictional.
Lifetime movies, right? Watch them Lifetime movies, right? Them
Let it
dramas.
be fictional, please.
Let it be fictional, babes. I love it. You like it, I love it. But when it comes down to real people, like that's a real person with their real
Yeah.
name and their real whole vocation and everything, and somebody
Yeah.
threw a drink at them and they bust them in the head with the girl. That's too much.
Yeah.
Like, what
That
we talking about?
stuff I can't watch. I used to, but I can't do it
I can't
anymore.
do it.
And
And
I used to try to convince myself, oh, it was different back when I was watching it. It really wasn't. It was
right.
just as crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, I love a good fictional drama. Listen, that is human. That is human. But before we
Mm-hmm.
go,
Yeah.
I want to play a word association game. I have some cards here.
Okay. Let's go.
So I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
say a word, and you're gonna say the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that word.
Uh
Okay, it's not crazy. I just shuffled them up a little bit. All
oh.
right.
Okay.
So the first word is courage.
Lions.
Okay. Discernment.
Intuition.
Abundance.
Money.
Balance.
Yin yang.
Okay. Compassion.
My mama.
Expectation.
Mm. Expectations. Okay. I don't know why, but first thing I seen was a cap and gown. That's crazy.
Okay.
That's crazy.
That's what I was.
Success, I guess. That would have to be success combination.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
crazy.
And then lastly, openness.
Ah, the heart.
Okay.
The heart for sure.
Okay. And what does being magical mean to you?
To me, being magical would be granting myself permission. The magic is in the permission. We live in a world where everything tells us to go against who we are. And so to be my most authentic self, I have to grant myself the permission to live in all of my authentic ways freely. Freely. And within that permission, I can create and do any and all things that I need to for myself, for my friends, for the people connected to me, for my business. So for me, magic is a reality. It's not a fantasy. For me, reality is something real, my intentions and the permissions that I give myself to be my most authentic self and knowing where that will lead me. Because the magic gonna come from the work. It ain't gonna just, well, kind of. It ain't just gonna pop up out the sky, but even that, giving myself permission to believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that. So
Thank you.
what is next for you? Do you have any upcoming offerings or things that you want to share with the collective? Anything that any way that we could support you in your work?
What's next for me? Well, Luminary Wings of Love, sister company is expanding. So aside from Luminary Wings of Love, I have the Heart to Hands Healing Boutique, and I will be opening up a brick and mortar next month.
Wow.
My grand
That's
opening is
amazing.
next month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So when you asked me earlier, like, do you do that in person? I'm like, not yet. But I'll be offering classes, workshops, um, one-on-one Reiki sessions, group sessions. I'll be offering um like what do I want to call? I don't haven't named it yet, but like where we make products, but we take like it's like a combination though. Like I'll go over like the importance of self-care, what self-care looks like, and then we'll make a product. You can choose like a scrub or an oil or whatever that's gonna help you, you know, take that embodiment of what it means to care for yourself and put it into the product. So that's I'm excited for that offering. But online, um, I still got my tarot, I got my Reiki. I'm not gonna take that off the off my services. But I do have some courses and classes coming up soon for the Money Magic School Bus. I'm gonna do the I Am Love one more time, and then I'll also be doing the Sacral Healing group class as well real soon.
Okay. Where is the store going to be located? What's
29 Palms. It's just right outside of Joshua Tree, California.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we definitely gonna have to send some folks your way. That's so
Yeah.
dope.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so
That's
much.
so beautiful. Um, this has been very lovely. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on and
you.
sharing your light and your wisdom and your joy with the collective. I've
Thank
learned so
you.
much. I hope that everyone that's been listening and watching feels the same. I feel like they do. This has been lovely, Mel. Thank you so much. And
Thank
again, my
you.
name is Nikki Buchanan. I'm the owner of Soul Things Botanica, and I'm the host of the How to Be Magical podcast. And you have just listened to the Abundance Mindset lessons from Luminary Wings, and we had Mel in the building. Thank you so much, Mel, for coming on. We're gonna have to have you on again. We definitely need to have a whole. Oh, I don't know. I just feel like we're gonna have to have a whole talk about romance novels, urban lit, fantasy.
I'm with it.
Like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot there. There is. It's just so interesting to be like. I'm pretty sure that the listeners are also thinking the same thing. Like, why is it that everybody's talking about reading these crazy? What is going on? It's like, listen, we're multifaceted beings here. Yes, we love
Yeah.
love and light stuff, and sometimes we love a little hood boogery foolishness. I'm just saying. I think that makes a well-rounded individual. So thank you so much, Mel, for
I
coming
agree.
on. And as always, everybody keep it black, keep it beautiful, keep it magical. And until next time, peace.